The BMW 3 Series has been known to have oil leak issues, and in this video I am going to show you some of the common oil leak problems you will often see and how to fix them. You see, oil can lead to major engine damage, and you don't want anything to tamper with your engine because it is one of the most expensive repairs you will ever do in your car. Which is why in this guide, we'll break down the most common oil leak sources on the BMW 3 Series, why they happen, how to spot them early, what you can do yourself to fix them, and when to actually seek a pro to help out. Now, let's get started. But before we do, please take a moment to like and share this video. Also, subscribe to the channel. It helps support the channel a lot. Thank you very much. So, why do the BMW 3 Series leak oil more often than you would expect? BMW builds a fantastic car, but even the best engineering doesn't make a vehicle immune to aging. In the case of the 3 Series, the compact engine bays, high operating temperatures, use of synthetic rubber gaskets, and the intense heat cycles all combine to put more stress on seals and gaskets. Over time, the materials stiffen, shrink, or crack, and vibration plus heat merely accelerate their decline. Add in road debris hits, especially on oil pans, or a missed oil change that allows buildup of sludge behind a gasket, and you've got a recipe for seepage. The key is, a small drip now often signals something you want to fix before it becomes a major repair. Leak source number 1, valve cover gasket. This is arguably the most common leak on the 3 Series, especially on engines like the N52, N54, N55, and the newer B Series. The valve cover gasket sits at the top perimeter of the engine head, sealing the area where the camshafts and valve train live. Over time, as the gasket rubber or composite hardens and the cover flexes with heat and vibration, the seal begins to fail. Signs: you might notice oil pooling at the top or side of the engine block, oil running into the spark plug wells, a burning oil smell when oil drips onto hot engine components, and even misfires if oil contaminates ignition coils. Why is this bad? Because beyond the visible leak, if oil gets into the ignition system or onto the belt drive, it can trigger worse and bigger problems, leading to more costly repairs. Fix approach: replace the valve cover gasket. On many 3 Series models, this requires removal of the ignition coils and possibly other intake parts, but it's a relatively moderate job for a competent DIYer or an independent BMW specialist. Use a high-quality OEM gasket, clean surfaces thoroughly, monitor after replacement. Typical cost: on average, you're looking at a few $100s for parts and labor, approximately $300 to $600 depending on region and shop. On turbocharged N54 engines, the plastic valve cover itself can warp, so replacing the entire cover may be necessary or the best thing to do. Leak source number 2, oil filter housing gasket. Number 2 in the lineup of frequent offenders is the oil filter housing gasket, or base gasket, on the 3 Series engines. The oil filter housing is mounted on the engine block, and between it and the block sits a gasket, or O-ring, which seals pressurized oil passages. Over time, that gasket can shrink, harden, or be distorted. Signs: oil usually drips down the front side of the engine, often near the accessory drive belt or serpentine belt, sometimes alighting on the belt cover, or causing oil to spray across components. You might see wet oil trails under the car, especially after driving when the engine is warm. This is not good because if oil escapes from here, it can contaminate the belt drive, lead to belt slippage, noise, or even belt failure, which then cascades into other issues. Fix approach: remove the filter housing assembly, replace the gasket, Yars O-ring, clean mating surfaces, reinstall with correct torque and extra care. On some 3 Series models, you'll need to remove additional coolant lines or sensor wiring. After installation, monitor oil levels and inspect for drips after a few warm-up cycles. Typical cost: often in the ballpark of $250 to $500 for parts and labor. Leak source number 3, oil pan gasket, oil pan seal. Lower down, the oil pan gasket, which seals the oil pan to the bottom of the engine block, is another common leak point, especially on higher mileage 3 Series. The oil pan takes lashings from road debris, heat, and engine vibration. Signs: oil puddles or drips under the middle or front underside of the car, oil streaks running down from the belly, or noticeable oil loss without obvious upper engine leak spots. You might see oil near structural cross members or on the sub-dot frame. Why it matters: because it's lower in the engine, oil can drip onto exhaust components, subframe, and even into wiring, underbody covers. If left unchecked, you'll likely have more complicated removal of parts just to get access. Fix approach: support the engine if required, remove oil pan bolts, often under the car or by lowering the subframe, Clean mating surfaces, replace the gasket or pan if damaged. Reinstall, refill oil, run, and inspect. It's a more labor-intensive job than a valve cover gasket. Typical cost. Average repair cost is around $400 to $800, depending on location and complexity. Leak source number 4, rear main seal or major crankshaft seals. One of the more serious and expensive leaks is the rear main seal, located where the engine meets the transmission, or other major crankshaft seals. These are less common but critical. Signs: oil between the engine and transmission, oil dripping directly under the join, or severe oil loss without obvious upper leaks. Often you'll see a dark, greasy film on the flywheel housing or between engine and trans. Why it matters? Because accessing this area often means removing the transmission, or at least supporting the engine heavily. Labor time goes way up. If not addressed, oil loss can destroy the clutch on manuals, or contaminate other major drive components. Fix approach. This one's usually best for the professional mechanic. Remove transmission, or at least major components, replace the seal, add any required gaskets, ensure alignment, torque specs, fluid levels, and retest. Typical cost. For the BMW 3 Series, this repair can easily cost between $600 to $1,200+ depending on region and labor. These failures are more common on higher mileage cars like N52/N54 cars, and much rarer on newer B-Series engines. Leak source number 5, minor causes and simple fixes, oil filler cap, drain plug, overfill. While not the glamorous engine leak job, some oil leaks come from simpler causes but still demand attention, especially when overlooked. On a 3 Series, you'll want to check the oil filler cap condition, the oil drain plug, and its crush washer, ensuring oil isn't overfilled. Signs: oil around the oil cap or spilled when topping up. Oil dripping from the drain plug area. Oil level consistently high or low, which may indicate overfill or incorrect fill. Fix approach. Tighten the cap or replace if damaged. Replace drain plug, crush washer, or entire plug if thread's damaged. Ensure correct fill level. Clean up any spilled oil so you can monitor future leaks. These are simpler fixes and can prevent bigger problems. Prevention and early detection. Fixing leaks is one part of the story. Preventing them, or at least catching them early, is your best investment. Here are the key steps. Monitor oil level regularly. If you're topping up frequently, don't assume it's just normal. Oil levels dropping steadily is a clear warning. Visual inspection under the car and engine bay. Look at cylinder head edges around filter housing, front of engine block, oil pan seams. Clean the engine bay and then check again to locate fresh leak paths. Use quality gaskets, oils, and parts. BMW engines operate at high precision. Using cheap or generic materials often leads to premature failure. Avoid overfilling oil and change at correct intervals. Old or thick oil and overfill worsen pressure on seals. Get leaks solved soon. A small drip left unaddressed can lead to oil on belts, contamination, misfires, or even fire risk in extreme cases. What to do when you notice a leak? Don't ignore it. A little spot today could be a major bill tomorrow. Clean the area. Degrease the engine bay, wipe away oil film so you can identify fresh seepage rather than old residue. Locate the source. Start at the highest point where oil is visible because oil runs downward. Use a flashlight, inspect corners, edges, filter housing, pan, etc. Decide whether you can DIY or need a specialist. Some jobs, valve cover gasket, oil filter housing gasket, can be DIY if you have tools and mechanical comfort. Jobs like oil pan or rear main seal often require professional for access and guarantee. Use the right parts and torque specs. Follow BMW repair manuals or honest independent specialist sheets for torque, sequence, and gasket type. The cost of doing it right pays dividends. After repair, monitor. After you fix a leak, drive for a week or two, inspect for fresh drips, check oil level again, and confirm the fix held. Your BMW 3 Series is a driver's car, a blend of performance, refinement, and engineering. But like any finely tuned machine, it demands respect. Oil leaks might look like just a cosmetic or minor issue, oil spots under the car or a whiff of burning oil, but left unchecked, they can lead to misfires, belt failures, expensive clutch or transmission damage, and even engine failure. The 4 big leak points we covered: the valve cover gasket, oil filter housing gasket, oil pan gasket, and rear main seal account for most oil leak cases on the 3 Series. Add in the smaller but still critical oil filler drain plug issues and you've got a full checklist. Here's what you should remember. If you see oil spots, act. If your oil level keeps dropping, investigate. If oil is pooling around the top of the engine or dripping from the bottom, pinpoint it. Use quality parts and correct procedures for the repair. After the repair, keep an eye on it. Now, if you find this video to be helpful, check out our other video here on the signs and symptoms of low oil and how to change it, as well as change the filter in your car. Link will be in the description below and here.